Alrighty, everybody. This is Tim Lee, and it looks like I am frozen again. Brock, are you there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, and I'm not frozen.
All right. Well, I will try to unplug the camera again, but before we really get going, if any of you are tech experts and want to talk to me about how to make sure that my video doesn't keep dying, that would be great. But when I get it to work again, it's probably going to be a green screen. So everybody, hang tight just for a couple minutes.
Technology is so fun.
It's wonderful. Um, so, Brock, while my camera's getting started, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the group?
Hi, everybody. I'm Brock Gregg. I'm the associate director here at one of the associate directors here at TRTA, and I'm really pleased to be able to join y'all today. Looks like you're back, Tim.
All righty, back to the green screen. So, y'all, thank you for tuning in. We're excited that you're a part of this show. Today, Brock and I are handling the production on our own. Normally, our producer, Roy Varney, is with us, but he's not able to be here today. So, I'm going to wear the production hat as well as the kind of talking hat. And as we got started today, Brock and I wanted to talk about the beginning of the legislative session. Brock has years of experience working with not only TRTA, but he worked at ATPE for a number of years. And he's just one of the smartest folks that I know around the Capitol. We're very, very fortunate to have him on our team. And I wanted to talk about, where are we in session, what's going on early. We're going to dive into that a little bit. But I do want to announce, and I have to say thank you to my very good friend, Sean Duhamel, who is the director of the Mass Retirees. Many of you know Sean. He's been on production shows with me. He's gone to Washington, D.C. with me. He was, one of the main advocates behind repealing weapon GPO. And so Sean, right before the show started, sent me an updated link with the Social Security Administration. They have updated their website talking about WEP and GPO. And I know Cindy Sharp is probably watching. Brock, do you have that page, or is it just me who has it?
I have the page up on my screen.
Yeah, if you can try to forward that to Cindy, and I'm going to try to share it again, y'all. I'm running the technology show and the talking show, and Brock is helping me. But we're going to try to share a screen so that we can look at this together. I have not had a chance to actually look at this new site. I know they've updated it with some Q&A. Let's see if I can just share the screen. Social Security share. All right, Brock. Well, I think.
Here it is.
Yeah, I think we can all see this now. It'd be a little easier if I had, and my screen's frozen green. I don't care. The takeaway here is that we're going to share this updated page with all of our members. And it does look like they have updated as of today, January 24th. They have talking now about what is the Social Security Fairness Act. And I think we all kind of know what that is. And it's the next section is, will every teacher, firefighter, police officer, or public worker receive a benefit increase because of the new law? And I think this is probably talking about what you have to do to be eligible to receive a Social Security benefit. This is, let's see, we know that some press articles have mentioned teachers, firefighters, police officers, etc. However, only people who receive a pension based on work not covered by Social Security may see benefit increases under this new law. My guess is, Brock, they probably have had folks that are public workers in other states that had Social Security as part of their retirement benefit already being paid, that may have been contacting and asking if this meant they were going to get increases in their benefits. So
Well, it looks like.
yeah, this definitely, is focusing on states like Texas, California, Massachusetts, Nevada, Missouri, Illinois, this states where we know specifically the educators, when they're actively employed, they're not paying Social Security through their education or their public work position, but they're paying Social Security because they have that second or third job, or they have other work history outside of being a public worker. So that question is trying to focus on who this benefit is going to be focused or is going to be dealing with. When will a person see their Social Security benefits increase because of the Social Security Fairness Act. Well, this is the one that everybody wants to know.
Yes.
And do they have an answer? Finalizing its plan to implement the act while limiting negative effects on our regular workloads and services to the public. We cannot yet provide an estimated time frame for when we'll adjust persons past or future benefits, but we will continue to provide updates. Thank the public for its patience. And I think we understand, this is a complicated rollout. I don't think that anybody believed that they were going to start getting their benefits this month. But some of those estimates, Brock, I know you and I have talked about and heard the same thing, that we'd heard 12 to 18 months is what people were saying. And I think that is, from our perspective, that seems unreasonable for us to expect the folks who are going to benefit from this have to wait a year or year and a half before those benefits get adjusted. So, it's, looking at the language, they're finalizing a plan to implement the act. That's encouraging. So clearly they're working on it. Any thoughts on that, Brock, right now?
Yeah, most of the members that I've spoken with, and there have been a lot, and it's been wonderful because they've been very positive phone calls. Except, I think our members are patient, but I think what they like to know is just give us a plan. Give us something so that we can plan to it. So even if it's 10 months away, tell us that so that we'll know when we may get this money. So hopefully what this means is that they will have a plan up pretty soon that will at least give us an idea of when folks will get paid.
Yeah. Well, I know that a number of elected officials are sending letters to the Social Security Administration, kind of demanding to know when that plan is going to be available and what the timeline is going to be. I know several Texas congressional members are finalizing letters to that same effect. When those letters are compiled, we will share them with our members so you can see who from the Texas delegation is working on getting more information. When will a person see the Social Security benefit? Okay, looked at that. By how much may a person's monthly benefit increase? Now, this is very subjective. The amount of monthly benefits may change very greatly depending on factors such as the type of Social Security benefit received and the amount of the person's pension. Some people's benefits will increase very little, while others may be eligible for over $1,000 more each month. So, the complete and total repeal of the windfall elimination provision is going to necessitate a complete rework of what that person's benefit is going to be. And so, and the same for the government pension offset. Some people get these confused a little bit from time to time, Brock, but the pension offset, that's the one that deals with a widow or widower who's collecting the spousal benefit, right?
Right, spousal and survivor benefits.
Yep. So if your spouse has passed away, and or you're trying to collect on your spousal work history, and you've been told by the Social Security Administration you're going to lose all of that benefit because you have a government pension, that's what they're going to have to recalculate, is the restoration of that spousal benefit. And on the windfall never completely eliminated anybody's personally earned Social Security. Like the GPO, that could totally wipe out that spousal benefit. But that windfall, it calculated a new benefit, a greatly reduced benefit, but you still got something if you were eligible. A lot of people only got enough to cover the premium of their Medicare, and so or less. And so that's, I think they said on average, one of the reports said it was, it's like $4,000 on average a year more for a WEP, and could be as much as 10 to 14,000 or more a year. Again, those are really averages. And I think we have to take to heart this language that says the amount of monthly benefit may change, can vary greatly. And that's going to depend on everybody's individual circumstance.
Yeah. And another question, and for some people, it's going to be a large amount. And I've talked with a lot of folks who, and they're just trying to at least ballpark what they're going to get. It's really hard to figure it out going back and looking at the formulas and things. But one question that I'm hoping may be answered here, I don't know, but I hope they answer it at some point, are people who, especially with the GPO, may have applied for that in the past and they didn't get any, but they have an application on file. And my understanding is they don't need to apply again, but it would be nice for Social Security to give us that answer for sure.
Yeah, that's probably the question that I've received the most is, let's see if we have this question still on our webpage. We may get to it, but I may come back to that one, Brock, in just a second. For someone already receiving benefits affected by WEP and GPO, how far back might they receive the increased benefits under the Social Security Fairness Act? December 2023 is the last month that WEP and GPO will apply. This means those rules no longer apply to benefits payable for January 2024 or later. Let's see what their important reminder is. Social Security benefits payable for January 2024 would generally have been received in February.
Okay.
That's an interesting way they've crafted that language. The last month that WEP and GPO will apply is 2023. So, I think it's pretty safe to say they are aware that retroactive pay takes us back to January of 2024.
Right.
And so how that payment may be made is still up for debate. Will the Social Security Administration pay it out in one lump sum? Will there be tax consequences for that? Are they going to amateurize it? There's a lot of things that we don't know yet. What should people do now that the Social Security Fairness Act is law? Okay, because the GPO could reduce or eliminate spousal benefits or surviving spousal benefits, some non-covered pension recipients may have never applied for benefits. This is an important part of what people may be doing now. If you have never applied for spouses or surviving spouses benefits, you may need to file an application. The date of your application might affect when your benefits begin. Filing sooner might help you get a higher benefit amount. The most convenient way to apply for retirement or spouses benefits is online at ssa.gov/apply. The online application will still collect pension information until the application is changed. However, Social Security Administration will not offset the benefit. Survivor benefit application is not available online. People who cannot apply online for benefits should call, and they've got their 800 number. All right, Brock, what are some takeaways here? So one takeaway that I have right away is that the Social Security Administration in Washington, D.C., who's trying to put out this information, is running and kind of typing at the same time. There are a lot of field offices that don't have information yet. People are reaching out. And I think that if you're trying to get assistance on this, the best thing to do are to follow the steps that they've listed on their page here. So we're going to share this information again to all of our members. Most convenient way to apply for retirement or spouses benefits is online at ssa.gov. Then down here at this next section, they say the survivor benefit application is not available online. So that's a really important part for our retirees who say, hey, my spouse has preceded me in death and I would like to get on file now. And so it sounds to me like if you're in that situation, you might want to call this 1-800-772-1213 between Monday through Friday and 8 to 7 p.m. That is going to be an area that we're going to have to really try to work with some of our folks who are going through this process and see how we can make it better and try to pass that on to the Social Security Administration.
Yeah, that's an important piece there, because if you're, going to make an appointment and go do that in person at your local Social Security office, the earlier the better. So, so you can get on their schedule. And then this part about spouses benefits. So, by the way, I went through the application the other day online just to see, and it's pretty easy to follow. And I think people will be able to use that. And I wish they had the survivor benefit on there too. I don't know why, but because that's a big one, but at least they have that. And it is fairly easy to go through and apply for benefits on that system.
Yeah. It sounds like if you've been WEP'd, you've never applied for the benefit. If you're already receiving the benefits affected by WEP or GPO, I think that if you're already being hit by the WEP, meaning that that you filed for Social Security and your Social Security amount has been reduced, it is not saying that you need to go back on and reapply for a benefit.
Right.
So I think this is kind of focused on the folks who said, well, I'm 67 or 68 and I've not filed for a benefit yet. I was kind of holding out, because there are a lot of folks that have been holding out and just saying, hey, I can push it back, and maybe I'll apply at some point in time, but I'll wait and see what happens. I think that's saying if you've not yet filed for benefits and you know that you're ready to file for benefits for your own work history, you can go online and go through that ssa.gov/apply and go through that process.
Right. And now to calculate it without the WEP, obviously. And this answers the other question that I've gotten a lot, which is if you've ever applied for spousal benefits or survivor benefits, you don't have to reapply, is what it seems to say here.
Okay. All right. So I think that's the section. If you're entitled to spousal surviving benefits and your benefits are currently being reduced or eliminated by GPO, or if you're entitled to retired or disabled workers benefits, or your benefits are currently being reduced by WEP, consider reviewing the mailing address and or direct deposit information that the Social Security Administration has on file for you. This will allow Social Security Administration to adjust your benefits as quickly as possible. Generally, no other actions are needed at this time. The easiest way for most beneficiaries to update their address or direct deposit information with SSA, if needed, is online with a personal My Social Security account. There is no need to call or visit the Social Security Administration. I have a Social Security account set up on the app that I use, and I think that if a lot of our folks are receiving those benefits and they have it set up, they can again review their mailing address and direct deposit information, and if it's there, I think it's essentially telling us sit tight while we continue to work on getting this implemented.
Yeah, and just an easy plug here, the Social Security allows you to do that on My Social Security, so you can get your own account set up. And for those out there that have not done that with their TRS yet or may not know about it, the TRS has that same function called My TRS, and it's a really good thing to do. You can make changes to your account, you can do address changes and all that kind of stuff at both Social Security and My TRS.
Brock, I'm going to be honest. I have to tell you, I truly hate this world in which we live, that everything has to go through a website or it has to go through an app. But I've also learned that's unfortunately the way the business gets done the most efficiently. I mean, there are going to be 3 million people that are going to get affected by this, in a positive way.
Yes.
And so as much as it may pain all of us to go through those processes of setting up these accounts and making sure they're handled right, I think the smart play is, follow their instructions, go on their website, do the stuff they're asking you to do, and please do not give out any of your Social Security information to anyone if they're contacting you or saying they can help you with something and they need your Social Security information. We encourage our members to not give out any more information than they have to, and certainly not Social Security accounts. I'm honestly, I'm a little worried that there's going to be some nefarious, folks out there that are going to try to take advantage of this situation, because there are people out there like that. So SSA.gov, you'll see this on their website /my account. And, if you're going to contact Social Security Administration at this 1-800-772-1213 number, my advice is, be prepared to wait. Because that could be a very long phone call.
I think one of the things you just said about scams is important. If someone contacts you, don't answer it. If you, if you've contacted Social Security and that's who you're talking to, that's okay, or any other agency like that. But that's just the rule. You just don't answer emails anymore. If I get something that's a solicitation for anything and I'm interested in it, I immediately call the company or whatever it is, so that I get a person that I talk to make sure that it's the right company.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm so glad to see this now on this Social Security page. How can someone avoid scams about the repeal of Web and GPO? So This was a point that when I was talking to Congressman Gooden, we first, did that show right after, I think we did that on January 6th from his office. And he said, we're both worried about that. So unfortunately, bad actors might attempt to take advantage of situations when money is involved. Social Security Administration will never ask or require a person to pay either for assistance or to have their benefits started, increased, or paid retroactively. Hang up and do not click or respond to anyone offering to increase or expedite benefits. And, it's easy sometimes to get frustrated with agencies and bureaucracies and just having to go through the motions. But I am really proud of the Social Security Administration and their team for putting that right out there so people know
Absolutely.
they're not reached. They just hang up on those people. Okay, a couple other items that are new here. What if a person pays their Medicare premium directly to the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services due to the windfall elimination provision or to the GPO reduction? SSA recommends that until they get a notice from the Social Security Administration, the person should continue to follow the instructions on the Medicare premium bill and pay the bill to ensure the Medicare coverage does not stop. SSA will send a notice telling people when their Social Security record is updated. Once the person begins receiving the Social Security benefit, the Medicare premium will be deducted from their monthly payment. And if the benefit is not enough to cover the Medicare premium, the person will be billed for the remainder. Social Security notice will include this information. All right, so there'll be more information here that y'all can kind of read on your own. But I know, as I said earlier, that a lot of our folks just make enough on their benefit to cover the cost of their Medicare. And so, if you're getting WEP'd and GPO now, my guess is that if you've got the minimum number of quarters in to get a benefit, you're gonna see a significant change on your Social Security. And my hope is that this will be a real positive for you. It'll cover your Medicare and so on, and you'll still have some left over. So that's good to know.
I've had that question several times
about
if I pay mine separately, what's going to happen. So I'm glad they put that on there.
Yeah.
Members will appreciate that.
The thing about that, and I'll just take another brief here, but the thing about the WEP is that it was so arbitrary. They used a one-size-fits-all formula for everybody who had different contributions at different times in their life. And so, one person may have one benefit, after this WEP is over, and somebody else may have something entirely different because everybody's contributions are different. And, that was the one thing we truly hated about the WEP. It was just arbitrary. And so everybody's benefit is going to change based on their own work history, their own record. So, let's kind of wait and see how that turns out. And I think, we all know that life without WEP and GPO is going to be a lot better than life with WEP and GPO.
Correct.
Okay. How can someone avoid scams? We talked about that. What is Social Security Administration doing to tell people about the repeal of the WEP and the GPO? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say a lot of people have heard about it already, but they've taken several steps to tell people what it's doing to implement and provide information and updates. They want people to avoid unnecessarily calling or visiting the Social Security Administration. I've seen on some web pages where people have said they've already gotten their benefit, they've done certain things, and it didn't take them. I think at this point in time, it's safe to say they're in the early stages of implementation. And it's going to be a little bit before we have more answers to some of these bigger questions. The biggest question is, when am I going to see my money?
Right.
That's what we're all pushing for. But if you've got somebody on a website saying, I've already got mine, I've already done it, and it's coming to me, I think there's we don't know the circumstances. You just kind of have to take it, in stride and say, I don't think they're at the place right now where they're actually implementing the WEP and the GPO repeal. Any thoughts on that, Brock?
I think you're right. And, it's just going to take them some time. But the members I've talked to, they understand at some point they're going to get paid for all these months that it takes them to put it in. But they just want to know some idea so they can plan for that money. And I hope that they get something to us pretty soon that gives us just some kind of timeline.
Yeah. A couple other items here that we can point out. And again, I'm not looking at the comments. It may already be that our colleague and good friend Cindy Sharp has already posted this on the chat. So hopefully y'all can be reading along at the same time. But, we just talked about what the Social Security Administration is doing to ensure people it can help people affected by WEP and the Social Security Fairness Act. It requires SSA to adjust the benefits of over 3 million people. Since the law's effective date is in the past, the Social Security Administration must adjust some people's past benefits as well as future benefits. Processing these changes is very complex, and the SSA's analysis shows that much of the work must be done manually on an individual case-by-case basis. Social Security Administration is currently processing pending or new claims involving future benefits and developing procedures and automated solutions for computing retroactive benefits. That's a lot to take in right there. So
I can't believe they would. Well, I guess so. Still doing it manually with all this technology.
I know, but you would it seems to me though, and again, I'm just talking with a camera that doesn't work, but it does seem to me that there's going to be a broad number of people that can be recalculated more quickly.
One would think so.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I know that our congressional friends are already talking about, can we get the Social Security Administration to come and do be responsive to the decision makers at a hearing. And so keep in mind, while we're also reading the section about how there's 3 million and all these adjustments, there's an acting administrator at Social Security. They're still going through a process of an administration change.
Correct.
And so there's going to be new leadership. There's going to be new staff. There's going to be that we're going to have to get through. But I'm confident that the people that are being looked at for these roles will hit the ground running. And, we're going to keep, people's feet to the fire. But I also think that we have to recognize there is going to be quite a lot of work to get this done. So let's kind of see what else they say here. What challenges does SSA face implementing the Social Security Fairness Act? They want to implement the bill in a timely manner without negatively affecting the day-to-day customer service. Relies on funding. The act did not provide money to implement the law. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut on that one.
Yeah.
More than 1 year to adjust benefits. That's where I think we all have a serious, let's come to reality kind of moment. These folks have been without their Social Security benefits for decades. Brock, I think I heard a report recently that there are more than 400 TRS retirees today in Texas that are over age 100. And probably a few of them in that group, more than a few, are WEP or GPO'd.
You can almost count on it.
Yeah. So, asking those folks to sit around and wait seems a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I think waiting a year is getting too far.
Yeah, yeah.
I really do.
Okay, well, that's going to kind of wrap up that review, and I'm going to try to hit the right buttons to stop sharing that screen. My screen still does not work. I'm going to try to reset it one more time. But that, honestly, Brock, that may be, we may spend another 2 or 3 minutes just talking about some of the other stuff. That may be enough show for us to, cover for this week. But before we let everybody go, I think, let's just quickly talk about, the Texas legislature. Maybe my camera's going to start working again. Yeah, it's still a green screen. But, it is what it is. Let me see if I can go back to my comments. I'm going to look through these comments. Brock, can you just give us an overview? We're at the very early days of the legislative session. Kind of give us an idea of what's happened in the last week. And then we'll talk about how people can be, effectively helping. And I'm going to try to share some of these comments that may be, good for others to see as well while you're talking.
Sure. Well, so far, the Senate has named committees. They already had their leader. They didn't have to elect a speaker like the House did. So they have their committees, and I haven't seen any posted yet, but I would imagine we'll have a schedule soon, especially for the Senate Finance Committee, which is the committee we work with on TRS mostly. And they'll probably be kicking off soon. The House, on the other hand, just adopted its rules yesterday, And so now the speaker will have to name committees. They have given them until next Tuesday, I believe. That's correct. The way that works is each legislator signs a card and gives their 3 top choices that they would like to be on. And then the speaker uses those to appoint committees. And it's quite likely that it will be into February before we get House committees. And so, it's a little bit of a slow start compared to some years in the past, but that's kind of what happens when you have to elect a speaker. I do think they'll get, now we did have this week, both the House and the Senate have filed their versions of what's known as the base budget. So that is really what's the real kickoff of every session. And in fact, the Constitution only really requires that they pass a budget. And they could pass a budget and go home, and that would be the end of the session, and that would fulfill their duties, really. But that's not going to happen here. We're going to have a lot of legislation to go. I do see that they're starting a little slower than usual, Tim, but I think we're going to have a good session. The state has extra money in the kitty. I think that I saw some of the priorities laid out by the leadership, and those are important, and they do drive the train. But in my experience, every single session is different. Every one has its own personality, its own life, and it always includes a lot of changes, and many times they're different from the priorities that are laid out at the beginning. So I feel good about it. I think this is going to be a good legislative session. We've had 2 huge wins in the last, one in the legislature, and now this with the WP and the GPO. And I think that one thing that means, and I think our members always stand up and do this well, is we got a lot of education to do over there. I think most legislators are aware of the WP and the GPO, but it does affect a lot of our members, and they do have a lot of questions about it. I'm looking forward to having those conversations. And then there are a lot of new legislators. And so we're going to really focus on making sure they know who we are, what we do, how we work with them, how we work in partnership. We're not there to get in their face. We're there to talk with them about what we need and partner with them. And I think that's a really important concept there, that we look at this as a partnership with them. And I was thinking about that, Tim, and it's kind of like this. We're role modeling the same things that we taught the people who are now lobbying, and being in a partnership means that you trust each other, you work on relationship. The relationship is what matters. We don't participate in partisan politics or partisan issues. We participate in the issues that are in our mission statement, and we stick to those, and we know what we're talking about. And the more important part of that is, I believe that by doing that, and you can see in the votes that we get, I mean, bipartisan votes to the extent that we got in Congress are just unheard of these days. Our bills in the Texas legislature have passed unanimously now for years. And I think that is due to our members and the way that they do their business. I've had staffer after staffer over at the legislature, which they're, by the way, if this is a secret to you, those are the people who actually really run the legislature, or the people who run the offices over there. And I've had many of them just go on and on about how they look forward. They look forward to our members coming into their office because they know they're going to get a smile. They know they're going to get respect. They know they're going to get a thank you. And it's a thank you that they deserve for what they've done so far. But and that sets it up so that then we can remind them that, yes, the WEP and the GPO was a really huge victory. Nevertheless, it doesn't cover every educator in Texas. Not everybody's going to get a benefit from that. And remind them once again that, retirement security for our folks comes from that TRS pension. And as much as we absolutely appreciate and are so grateful for what they've done and for the partnership, the reality still is that inflation still exists, and the costs of living are going up faster than the fixed incomes of the people. And that we serve.
Yeah.
And in particular, cumulative inflation over that time. And when you look at those numbers, you know that we still have a whole lot of work to do to get the type of dignity and respect for the retired teachers and for what they've done for our state.
Well, Brock, I think that was excellent. We are definitely working the state legislature now, and we're keeping an eye on what's going on with the federal stuff. Been really like this format, Brock, of you and I being able to talk about these things. We're really, again, fortunate to have all of the friends around this country that are helping keep eyes on what's going on. I think Sean Duhamel, I think he was watching the show today and went through that document. There's a lot of information there. We're going to make sure that we send this out. We'll send out the website. We'll do an inside line that has that information. What I need from all of you is please try over the next couple of weeks to connect with your elected official's office. Send get on the phone, call them up, let them know that you are a retired school employee. Give them some of your background. It's going to be a long, difficult session. And if any of you have worked in this process, you know the 140 days feels like 240 days when you're over there sometimes. So a friendly voice that is, you're building a relationship with that staff person, it will pay dividends. Very, very often, some of the young staff members are your former students. And we've seen that time after time. I've seen people that were on staff who went off and got elected to a legislative seat. So please contact your state official, your senator, your state rep. Doesn't matter if you voted for them. Doesn't even matter if you like them. They've got the job right now. And so we want to be their resource when it comes to trying to help school employee retirees. And that's what we're going to do. And that is going to be done most effectively when we know that you've made some of that contact to begin with. Now, last thing I'm going to say today is March 26th. March 26th, please be at our day at the Capitol. And we're going to continue to send out information. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have a lot of fun, and it's going to be an exciting event. So I'm going to continue to have guests over the next few opportunities. I enjoyed it. Hopefully we all learned something together today. And without keeping you any longer, let's just say have a great weekend, and we'll bring you the news next Friday at 2:00. Have a great one. Brock, take care.
Thanks.
See y'all.